limited time when purchasing a 7-day all-access pass from either Drew Martin or Adam Trigger. You will also get a 7-day all-access pass from the other for only $1 more. Since the middle of December, Drew has produced 31% in profit and Adam 13% for a combined client bankroll increase of 45%. This combo package will also include any 5% best bets, and you can bet right alongside both Drew Martin and Adam Trigger for only $100 versus the regular price of $198 for a limited time.
Hey guys, welcome in and a very happy Friday to you. Can't believe it. We have made it almost to the end of January, the 21st of January, 2022. Not a huge card tonight in college hoops, but certainly some very interesting matchups. We are going to break down 3 games for you, see if we can find a couple of edges, do some best bets, and we're going to do it with the Friday crew here. Doesn't get any better than these two, rather. We have Steve Merrill in the house. Brian Leonard is here, and yes, see what happens if you give out the wrong codes. You get Tony Finn walks in. And here he is, Finn in the house, crushing it, though, and all kidding aside. Absolutely crushing it on the hardwood this year, as is Steve Merrill continuing to cash those tickets, my friend. It is Friday. What do you got locked and loaded for the weekend?
Potential 5% NFL best bet, and better pay attention. I was 5-0, 100% last week in the wild card round to start the NFL playoffs, and I've got my eyes on a 5% best bet. Going to wait for the injury report here in a couple hours to lock and load. And, of course, don't forget, as you know, Joe, my NFL Fade the Public video will be ready this weekend as well. Going to get that done tonight on Friday, get it posted for Saturday and Sunday's action. So check out Wager Talk TV this weekend. We don't have the daily shows, but NFL Fade the Public video will be up in the near future. Likely 5% NFL best bet as well. And don't forget also college hoops, #1 the last 2 years combined at WagerTalk.com. Great time to get an all sports, all access pass. Steve Merrill, WagerTalk.com.
Love it. All right, guys, make sure you head over there, check out Steve, and also Brian Leonard continuing to roll into profits. NHL 5% plays, continuing to cash. Brian, it's been a great January for you. What do you got locked and loaded for us this weekend?
Well, as of today, I have nothing. I really don't like anything on the card. The best bet on the card will be my best bet on the show today. But I'm going to take today and work on tomorrow's plays, as I couldn't find any value today. I already have 3 circled in college basketball tomorrow, probably going to be 4%, maybe a 5 out of it. And you mentioned the 5s, just a tremendous run, 7 straight in college basketball, 19-4 career in the NHL. NBA's been really nice, 10-3-1 run. Everything's going great, except for I didn't want to force anything today. So today's a day off for my clients, but not a day off for me, as I'll be working on tomorrow's huge card.
All right, good stuff there. And guys, Tony Finn in the house, continuing to crush it in the NBA, college hoops. I know you got a whole lot working this weekend, Tony Finn. Tell us about it.
Well, I do have a lot working. Most of it is already, it's been up quite a while. It's the NFL. As Steve said, I wasn't quite as good as Steve was last week. I was 3-1 in the wild card weekend. So, and I'll take that every weekend. But I have a position. I actually have 5 positions this weekend in the 4 games. So I really like the card. We'll see what happens. I don't have my NBA up, although I have 2 probables tonight. I'm waiting on some lineup information. And in college, I'm still waiting on some lineup. I have one. I haven't put it up yet. I got some intel on that too. But my college really hasn't been very good. Hasn't been very good. I've lost a lot of 1-point games. So I'm either due or I'm just way off, because 1-point games are the worst to lose. So let's teach me something, guys.
Has a way of all coming back to the middle at some point there, way of working itself out when it's all said and done. All right, let's start here with a couple of big matchups here tonight. Tough matchups, too. No better place than the Big Ten to start here with Wisconsin hosting Michigan State. And this game opened up right around the 4.5 mark. The total opened at 140. We've seen some movement in this game, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And, boy, Wisconsin really got it rolling here, Steve Merrill. Do you like them at home against the Spartans?
Well, the first thing with Wisconsin, they always make my short list because I always check to see who they're playing. And you always like to play a team like Wisconsin or, say, Virginia, these slow-down half-court teams against upper-tempo teams. Now, Wisconsin not nearly as slow this year as they've been in years past, but they're still in the lower half of pace. Michigan State in the upper half of pace. So I do think on their strong home court tonight, they'll be able to dictate the tempo, which would be to their advantage. And they are 8-1 straight up at home this year. Michigan State, meanwhile, has been very good on the road, those 6-2 away in all away games, as opposed to 8-1 at home as well. I think the tempo wins out in this one, though. Two good balanced offense and defenses. I thought Wisconsin was going to really be down this year. I stayed away from them early in the season, but as you said, Joe, played excellent basketball right now. They've won 7 in a row straight up. More importantly, they've covered 5 straight, which shows that the betting markets maybe haven't quite caught on. But I talk about that slow tempo. They've gone over 7 straight. All 7 wins, they've gone over the total, which once again shows their offense is a lot better than expected this year. I like Wisconsin here at home, laying the short number as a small home favorite.
Yeah, prior to the last game, I think they were upset by Northwestern by just a basket there, Brian. They had been rolling too. Michigan State had really started to put it together, but now they got to head on the road to Wisconsin here. Possible upset, Bruin, you think?
Could be. I don't think either one of these teams are as good as what their records show. You take a look at the shot quality, expected wins and losses. Michigan State's 5-1 in coin flip games, and Wisconsin is 4-1. And the interesting situation with Michigan State against Northwestern, they won the first game, should have lost when you take a look at the expected value numbers. And then the last game, they lost it. They should have won. So basically, they were even against Northwestern. It showed that way. But that's the first game all season long that Michigan State was in a nail-biter, a coin flip game, 50% or less chance of winning in post-game win percentage, and they lost the game. So they've been pretty lucky here. This looks like a defensive struggle to myself. Neither team is very good in transition. Offensively for Michigan State, 213th in transition. Defense, 294th. Wisconsin's good in offensive transition. It's 40th in the nation, but they don't run. They're 10th in frequency of transition, 325th in the country. What they do well is play in the half court. Both teams play well in the half court, especially defensively. We've got a Michigan State team ranking 45th, only allowing 0.79 defensive shot quality points per possession, and Wisconsin 20th at 0.76. I think the game being important for this, getting later in the season here, two teams playing very well by the record-wise. I look for this game to stay under the total. It's gone down. I believe it opened 140s down to 139 last time I looked. That would be the way I look at this game. The line is right where I thought it should be, so let me have a bite of the under here.
All right, leaning towards the under. I mean, we're usually used to seeing Wisconsin being this grinding team here, like Steve mentioned there, Tony Finn. But they're averaging close to 73 points a game. That's crazy. And most of their wins have come because they're number 1 in the country in turnover rate. They don't turn the ball over very much. So this could very well be a grind 'em kind of situation. How are you looking at it?
Yeah, they don't listen. I agree with both of what has been said here already about Wisconsin. I am also one that I don't believe that either one of these teams are elite or above average. I think the Big Ten is going to be one of those years where you're going to have 1 or 2 teams they'll find their way deep into the tournament. Other than that, I don't see it. Wisconsin doesn't shoot the ball that well. I mean, they're shooting under 31% from 3-point line, and outside of Johnny Davis, who's 23 points a game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a couple of steals. As a team, they're shooting, I think, as a team, less than 31% overall. I might be mistaken. But Wisconsin, the defense, 172nd in the country in opponents' 3-point shooting percentage. Michigan State, 39% from 3-point land. They do a really good job on the road of eliminating the crowds, and they have a great rebound rate. They seem to just be focused when they're on the road. And we know they're going to be stout. They're going to be tough. They're going to be stand tall in the paint. They block shots. And again, as you guys have talked about, neither one of these teams run. Michigan State, that used to be a staple. Of the Michigan State team. They would get out in transition, and they always had a wing that was creative or a guard that was creative. They don't have that either. So I would go with the under 2, but I like Michigan State, and I like Michigan State on the money line. You might as well take the money line in this. I think they win straight up.
Well, they've already had success on the road in Big Ten play here, winning at Minnesota, winning at Northwestern. Now they got to go to Wisconsin. They're getting 3. We'll see how that goes. 9 o'clock Eastern time tip-off. We are going to move on. Game number 2, another Big Ten matchup here with that team hovering in first place there, Illinois against Maryland. They opened up, obviously, as a favorite, and I believe it's 4.5 now, so Maryland seems to be getting some money in a number of spots here, and 137 for a current total, so that too is coming down, Brian Leonard. All right, Illinois, Wisconsin at the top of the class here in the Big Ten. Does it stay that way here after tonight?
You would think an elite team, and I consider Illinois an elite team. They've dealt with some injuries, some COVID issues this season with the record they have of 13-4. They're an elite team, and they're off of that loss to Purdue, 96-88. But that was one of those games where, if you look at the shot quality numbers, they should have won that game. The post-win game percentage was 65%. So they're coming off a game that they should have won, and it's a rare loss for them. So they only lost to Arizona earlier in the season, another elite team that's looked really good last night. I expect Illinois to bounce back here. It all comes down to Illinois wants to play the half-court game. The only way Maryland can compete here is to get out in the open court. I think this is a nice game to take a look at if you're looking for live betting. But you got an Illinois team. The only weakness they have is defensive shot quality, points per possession, and transition. They're allowing 1.09 points per possession. That's 331st in the country. You normally don't see that. So when they go up against a team that likes to run, when it gets to the tournament, this could be something that's going to come back and haunt Illinois. In Maryland right now, they're scoring 83rd in transition, 1.06. They don't run a lot, 14% of the time, 207th in the country. But this game makes a lot of sense to me. It's a correlated parlay. If you like Illinois, you're looking for a low-scoring game. If you want Maryland, you're looking for a high-scoring game. The way, instead of placing a bet before the game, I'm going to watch this game and see the pace of this game, see how it starts off early on. If it's a fast-paced game, I may look to play the under in Maryland. And if it's a slow-paced game, I look for Illinois to win by a margin in a low-scoring contest.
All right, good stuff. We did get a preview of this a couple of weeks ago, Tony Finn. They got no answer for Colbert. That's quite obvious. He took the game over in the second half. They don't score a ton of points in the paint, Maryland. It's exactly what Illinois is going to do here. What do you think we get in round 2 now?
Well, I mean, we see the big line move and the total move in this game from, I believe Circa and Westgate opened this right around 7, 8, or 9. But, once the news broke that Cogburn didn't make the trip, and he's in a concussion protocol, that's why this number has come down, because everyone thinks of Illinois as being all cock or nothing, right? So without Cockburn, I still like Illinois without Cockburn. The return of BVB and this lineup really was getting just completely healthy under Underwood. And the fact that they were a short favorite, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were -1 in that Purdue game, speaks a lot to what the odds makers and who this Illinois team is. They are an elite team. They are exactly as Brian said they were. And I like them tonight, minus the 3.5, 4, right there, 4.5 is where you're probably going to stick on this. Still, in Maryland, they have beaten Maryland, I think. I don't know how many years it's been, since 10 years since they've beaten Maryland in Maryland. Is that correct? I don't know the exact numbers, but this is the team. Yeah, this is the team that's going to take down Danny Manning, and the doesn't have any miracle. So no Manning and the miracles. This is Illinois' game. I think the number just got better for us. Without Cogburn, they're still going to be able to be physical in the paint. And no team in the Big Ten gives up more points in the paint than Maryland. Give me Illinois a small, short number.
All right, liking the short number there, Steve. Is it an overreaction? I do believe Corbello is back for Illinois here. So what do you think? Is it an Illinois victory running away?
Well, first of all, I'm glad Tony Finn went before me on this game because pre-show he was giving me a difficulty for saying Fairleigh Dickinson, and then when I was about to talk about Cockburn, I was like, "This is going to get very ugly fast if I dare say that Kofi Cockburn is out." But yeah, he did not even travel. So, like Tony said, he is not
Right.
playing tonight, and it's a big deal. I mean, this is a guy that's in the running for Player of the Year. He averages 21 points a game, 12 rebounds a game. And you mentioned that earlier meeting, Joe, back early January. Let's look at what he did in that game. 23 points, 18 rebounds in 28 minutes of play. So Maryland might be weak down low, but they're catching a break tonight because Cockburn is not in the lineup. And I think it does make a difference. And then on top of that, Illinois is coming off a double OT loss in their last game. I went to that William Mary James Madison game last Saturday, went to overtime. William Mary blew like a 24-point lead. They both turned around and played on the following Monday. Madison lost by 23 as a road favorite. William and Mary lost by 22 2 days later after that overtime game. It can leave teams flat, and now you're without a star player. And I know in the NBA, I always take the adjusted line value, right? It's worked like magic the last couple of years, but this is not the NBA. This is college basketball, and even a good program like Illinois, there's a big drop-off. You don't just replace somebody that's averaging a double-double on the season. So I don't think it is enough of an adjustment. As you said, the line's gone from 7.5 to 4.5. But Maryland is still getting points at home against a shorthanded, tired Illinois team. So I like actually Maryland in this spot plus the 4.5.
All right, taking the points here with Maryland at home tonight, guys. 7:00 Eastern time in the Big Ten. Let us head out west if we can here for our third game, and we're going to take a look at Fresno State traveling to Nevada. -2.5 is an opening number. In this one here, and the Bulldogs, boy, this is flipped, hasn't it now? 1.5, so I'm seeing for Nevada along with a 138.5. So a lot of line movement in this one here, Tony Finn. Tell me what you think about this Fresno State-Nevada game.
I don't agree with the line movement. I mean, this is one of those games where this is a fast-paced. One of the fastest tempo teams in college basketball is Nevada, under the Indiana previous. We thought always was going to beat the Indiana head coach, but it was in New Mexico as well, and tried to reshape that team as well. But this Nevada team's not very efficient. They do get up and down the court. They do score some points, but they give up just as many as they score. They give up 75.5 points. And they're playing one of the most efficient offensive and defensive squads, not just in the Mountain West, but in all of basketball. This Fresno State team is really, really good defensively. They make you use the clock. They make you work for every single pass, every single rebound, every single shot. And Nevada plays pretty loose. The Wolfpack plays loose. And I don't understand this movement unless I was looking through some trends, unless you buy the fact that this team has been fantastic on Fridays. That would be the only way I could play Nevada here. I really like Fresno State.
It's in many aspects. I mean, listen, both of these teams are maybe upper echelon there in the Mountain West there, Steve. But Coach Alford not happy with what he has been getting. It was a tough loss against Wyoming that last game. So what do you think changes here tonight? Which one of these teams do you like heading into this?
Yeah, I'm with Tony. I don't quite get the line move as well. As you said, Joe, Fresno opened as high as a 2.5-point road favorite. Now they're a 1.5 to 2-point road dog. Maybe I think, first of all, a lot of the early money that comes in is obviously sharp money. A lot of it's just mathematical power rating money, in my opinion, in college basketball. And if you look at these two teams, biggest dichotomy on the board tonight as far as point spread record, Nevada, despite being 8-7 straight up, is 4-10 against the spread. They haven't covered a point spread in over a month. You got to go back to like early December. Meanwhile, Fresno 15-4 straight up. It's legit 12-4 against the spread. They've been underrated all season. So I think it just got a little out of whack. I think that's just pure number play that's coming into effect. But you got to look at the matchups as well, like Tony did. And I agree. As you guys know, I love to look at pace. You've got one of the slowest half-court teams in the country in Fresno against one of the fastest teams in Nevada. So I lean towards Fresno in this game for that reason. I can always make a case for both sides. There are a couple concerns. First of all, home teams normally do a better job of dictating the tempo. So maybe Nevada can speed things up here. Maybe that's what that money move thinks. And the other thing that concerns me and keeps me off this game actually is the altitude factor. I'm always reluctant to play these California West Coast teams, these beach teams, these lefty coast teams against, these altitude teams like Nevada, Utah State and whatnot. So Nevada does have a substantial home court advantage. With that said, 5-3 straight up, 1-6 against the spread at home this year. But maybe the fact they opened them as a home dog, the betting markets just thought, hey, look, it's an overreaction finally, and that, some of that point spread failing is going to come back into play here. But I like Fresno now catching points. I have some concerns, though, with the altitude in the road game, but other Fresno slows this down, they should win it.
You look at this. There was a lot of hope for Nevada coming into the season here, Brian. They've got 3 trees down there protecting the paint. A couple of 7-footers, a dude that's 6'10". My goodness. Problem is they can't protect the perimeter. So what changes here tonight at home? Anything, or is it just Fresno State for you?
Yeah, this is interesting. I too saw that line move, and I tried to figure out if there were some injuries or something. I couldn't find anything. Maybe I'm missing something, but I didn't see anything. And as for Fresno, Fresno is a high altitude area. I drove through Fresno on the way to Las Vegas, and snowstorm in the mountains of Fresno. So they're not. I don't think it's going to be such a difficult situation for them. I want no part of Nevada. They don't play any defense at all. You look in the half court, they rank 253rd in shot quality points per possession. Take a look at this. Take a look at the shot types. Catch and shoot 3-pointers, 307th. Off the dribble 3-pointers, 307th. Mid range 306th. Post up 257th. They don't play any defense at all. And Fresno's 15th in the country in post up. They're very good at posting up the opposition. I'm with Tony here. I think the Fresno is the better side here. I think they're going to win. And Nevada's, I'm a big Nevada fan. I live here in Las Vegas. I pay a lot of attention to them. They just don't have a very good team this year. And even though they like to run, Nevada, when you take a look at their transition, they score only 0.97 points shot quality per offensive possession in transition, which ranks 248th. So even their strength, even what they want to do, they're not very good. So they don't shoot the ball that well, and defensively, they are just plain terrible. I'd give Fresno as an underdog here. I like Fresno. Nevada's getting too much respect for their past history, and they have really not been that impressive this year.
All right. Good stuff there, guys. 3 games of interest, including the late night degenerate special there out west in the Mountain West with Nevada taking on Fresno State. So it isn't the biggest of cards tonight, but certainly some intriguing spots. So let's see if there's a game these guys may like a little bit more than the others. And Steve, we'll kick it to you, man. Which one of these games are you leaning towards here tonight?
Yeah, going to look at a free college basketball game for 7 o'clock Eastern Friday night. Just a quick reminder, fantastic start to the NFL playoffs last week in a 5-0 sweep Saturday, Sunday, and Monday combined for the wild card round. 5-0, 100% start to the NFL playoffs. It gets even better this Saturday and Sunday. 5% alert. I'm looking at a probable 5% best bet for the NFL playoffs this weekend. My NFL Fade the Public video will have more details on this weekend here on Wager Talk TV. Don't forget to check that out. Also, don't forget multiple sport packages. All Sport Access is still available. Get NFL, college, and pro basketball. #1 ranked in college hoops the last 2 years at WagerTalk.com. Going to look at a free college basketball play for Friday night. I'm going to go with St. Bonaventure. Now, a lot of times teams are a bit overrated. I do think St. Bonaventure not nearly as good as their 10-4 record. So this isn't necessarily a play-on team for me long-term, but I think it's a good spot for them here tonight against a pretty bad Duquesne team that's probably actually even worse than their 6-9 record. They are 1-6 against the spread at home. They have absolutely no home court advantage. It's been that way for decades since I started in the 1990s. Duquesne's never really been a good home team. Just lost by 20 in their last home game last weekend here on Saturday. I don't think things get any better tonight against a St. Bonnie's team that should be very focused after a bad 18-point loss at Dayton 3 days ago. Right before that, though, they beat Virginia Commonwealth by 20 as a 3-point favorite. Also beat LaSalle on the road as a road favorite. They've done pretty well as a favorite this year. They win most of those games, and I think they'll be in a focus spot tonight. So we'll lay the short number with the better team in a focus spot. St. Bonaventure -6 tonight on Friday, 7 o'clock Eastern.
All right, liking the Bonnies to take care of business here. How about it, Brian Leonard? Which one of these games might you be leaning towards tonight?
Yeah, it's Stephen mentioned #1 the last 2 years in college basketball. I'm currently #2 this season in college basketball. And y'all know about my hockey success, #2 last year. Having another terrific season now. They put together a package for me. You buy the college basketball season to the championship, you get the rest of my hockey all the way through the Stanley Cup in addition. No extra charge. So if you're looking for a nice combo package, check that out over at Wager Talk. I'm going to stick with that first game we talked about, is the Michigan State Wisconsin game under. Both teams are so good in the half court defensively. Neither team, I don't believe, will be able to run in this game. And when they have ran, they haven't had a lot of success. So I'm looking for a typical Big Ten grinded out physical game here. Two teams that I feel a little bit overrated. It's very important for each of these teams to get this victory tonight. I look for the low scoring game. I'll take that under the 139.
All right, looking under in a grind out battle here tonight, guys. Make sure you head over to Brian's page at WagerTalk.com. Take advantage of that deal. All the hockey, all the college hoops you can imagine right now, all in one spot over at WagerTalk.com. Talk to us here, Tony. Finn, which game on the board did you circle you might be leaning towards?
I actually circled a couple for this best bet segment. And what I did was I put a couple of plus money line teams together in a 2-team parlay. And first one is the first game we spoke of, and that's Michigan State. I like Michigan State tonight, despite the missing of Cockburn and whatever else we want to talk about, Cockburn and that kind of thing. But despite missing him, I really and that's not the same game. Michigan, that's the Illinois game. But the Michigan State game, the fact that they're in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin's been really good. I think they've been fortunate. I was listening to what Steve and Brian were talking about. They have been lucky. I've been on a couple times this year, cashed a couple times with Wisconsin, and both times came out of that game thinking I was on the wrong side. However, a couple games I've won this year and felt like I was lucky at. I like Michigan State plus money there in Wisconsin and whiskey. And I also like Duquesne. It's the kind of opposite of Steve. I don't think much of the A-10 conference. And I've been pretty successful playing dogs in the A-10. One of them was a couple of weeks ago with this, actually recently, I played Dayton against St. Bonaventure. And Bonaventure was actually a favorite in that game and lost by 18 points against a not very good Dayton team either, in my opinion. A couple times back before the VC I had LaSalle, LaSalle's not a great team, very similar to this team in Duquesne. Don't have a big advantage either way. They're not big, they're not small. They just do the little things to stay in these games. They were actually a 9-point underdog, very similar in metrics to today's Duquesne team. Yet Duquesne's only about a 5.5 or 6-point dog. Some of it has to do with venue, but for the most part, I'm not a big fan of taking 4, 5, and 6 in college basketball. I think it's a horrible place to be at. You're either on the favorite in that situation or you're on the dog plus money. I'm on the dog plus money. Duquesne's plus 215 in that area. Michigan State's plus about 125 in that area. Put those two together, make a nice 2-team money line parlay. I like it.
All right, throwing a little shits and giggles parlay out there. Love it. Way to go, Tony, Finn. And how about our friends from the Gold Sheet? Let's see what they've got on tap here tonight. Oh, an interesting matchup. They're going to go Wagner over LIU, and then they're going to go over in this one, I believe. So the over with Wagner LIU here tonight should be actually a pretty entertaining game. The full write-up also available at Wager Talk on Twitter, guys. If you head over to our Twitter page, we always post these games, the Gold Sheet plays of the day, the full write-ups on the Twitter handle. And, of course, you can always head to thegoldsheet.com, check out all the rest of the write-ups and all the other great handicapping tools there. Tonight, I am going to head to Cleveland. Only I'm going to be backing Youngstown State tonight, getting 7.5. Taking on Cleveland State, which I like. The problem is they haven't been great against the number at home. I believe 3-6 this year. In the meantime, Youngstown State, really good on the road here. This game went to overtime first time around. I like it, the 7.5. I'll take those points tonight against Cleveland State. And the best bet recap we got tonight, we got Brian Leonard leaning Michigan State, Wisconsin under $1.39. Expect to grind out. Steve Merrill, give him the Bonnies to kick it back, man. Get one done here. Lay the 6. Tony Finn, well, he's going to go Michigan State, Duquesne, 2-team money line shits and giggles parlay for plus 600. I'm going to go Youngstown State. I'm going to take those 7.5. And the gold sheet, they're going to go over Wagner LIU here tonight. Not a huge card, but certainly some intriguing spots here tonight, including all of the games we discussed. And again, best bets, guys, for these guys heading into the weekend. Brian already told you about the deal right now that you can get there with all of his hockey, plus his college basketball. Great opportunity to hop on board there. Steve Merrill as well, and Tony Finn continuing to cash those tickets in the NBA. A lot of ways to make it a profitable weekend, but it starts by you guys heading over to WagerTalk.com. Visit Steve, visit Brian, visit Tony Finn, and then come back and visit us on Mondays. We recap it all from over the weekend and get you ready for another week of college hoops. So on behalf of these guys, we appreciate you hanging with us. Best of luck with your plays tonight and this weekend. We'll see you again on Monday.
For a limited time, when purchasing a 7-day all-access pass from either Drew Martin or Adam Trigger, you will also get a 7-day all-access pass from the other for only $1 more. Since the middle of December, Drew has produced 31% in profit and Adam 13% for a combined client bankroll increase of 45%. This combo package will also include any 5% best bets, and you can bet right alongside both Drew Martin and Adam Trigger for only $100 versus the regular price of $198 for a limited time.